Good afternoon, researchers, innovators, and research administrators from Indonesia and across ASEAN. A very warm welcome to this session of the European Research Days Indonesia 2020. My name is Susanne Ransovasu, and I'm the regional representative for Euraxis ASEAN. We've had a wonderful week behind us, pretty much, of all kinds of information sessions on research and collaboration opportunities with European partners. Today, we're focusing on a very important issue on climate change and a new opportunity for research institutions across Indonesia and across the world, really, to participate in what Europe is doing. We're focusing today on the European Green Deal. Now, the European Green Deal is the European Commission's blueprint and roadmap to make Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2050 with an inclusive, sustainable economy. One of the measures to reach this goal by 2050 is, of course, to join hand with international partners to improve global environmental standards. We only have one world, so we all need to share our expertise to make sure we are protecting it. Now, the European Commission has just launched a call, the European Green Deal, on October the 18th. This is a call worth 1 billion euros, and it's open for research and innovation projects that are responding to the climate crisis. The projects funded under this goal are expected to deliver results with tangible benefits in a number of areas, including, for example, clean, affordable and secure energy, sustainable and smart mobility, biodiversity and ecosystems, zero pollution, toxic-free environments, and other areas. Now, the deadline for submissions is the 26th of January. 2021, and selected projects are expected to start already in the autumn of next year. So this, of course, is a very opportune time now for you to inform yourself about the opportunities under this new call and to join hands with European partners. The Green Deal call is part of Horizon 2020, and as all other projects under Horizon 2020, it is open to participants from the rest of the world. Organizations from any country and from any sector can apply to the calls as long as they join a consortium with European partners. And international collaboration is particularly encouraged. We will hear today about the Green Deal call, how it is structured, who is eligible, how you can participate in it, and we will zoom in on one specific call. There is one call that explicitly invites participants from institutions in Indonesia, and this one focuses on prevention and fighting of extreme wildfires. We have two presenters with us today, and I'm very, very happy to welcome our speakers. We have with us Mr. Marco Recchioni. Marco is Senior Project Advisor with the European Commission in Brussels, and he will talk to us about the European Green Deal call in general. And then we will be joined by Alberto Pozza. Alberto is Project Advisor for European funded research projects with the European Commission in Brussels, and he will zoom in specifically on the call that deals with preventing and fighting extreme wildfires. Now, it is my great pleasure to invite our first speaker, Marco, to present his presentation. Marco is joining us from Brussels, but he is not using his camera. We'll be able to hear him. So I will be sharing his presentation for him via my screen, and you can see this now. Now, Marco, the floor is yours. Please switch on your microphone.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Susanne, for inviting me. I think this is a very interesting event, also taking into account, as you were mentioning, that for the European Green Deal call, it is very important to establish an international cooperation inside the future projects that will be funded under this program. My name is Marco Recchioni. I'm working for the Executive Agency for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise. And in particular, my unit has been following for the whole Horizon 2020 framework program calls that were funded under the chapter of the Societal Challenge 5, so environment, climate change, and natural resources. I am the call coordinator for the Green Deal call, and therefore I will coordinate the implementation of the Green Deal call from the submission of the proposal until the signing of the grant agreements, so the starting of the projects. I would like to thank all participants to participate. I'm very glad to be here today. Let me show you the agenda of my presentation. So I will provide you a little information. Oh, sorry, next slide. Yeah, thank you. I will provide you some little general information on the background of the Green Deal call. This is about the European Green Deal, which is a major policy initiative that has been launched some time ago by the European Commission, and I will provide you some details. Then I will jump into the Horizon 2020 European Green Deal call. I will provide you some general information about the timing, the budget, the areas, the thematic areas that can be tackled by the projects, and therefore I will provide you some details on this. And then I've included in my presentation also some key elements of the Horizon 2020 framework program, because I think that they are important for you to know beforehand in order to start approaching the call and the Horizon 2020 program. Then I will focus, of course, on the international cooperation, which is a hot topic for you all today. And I will provide you some information about how to look for partners and also where to find key information on the call and on the program. Next slide, please. As mentioned by Suzanne, the European Commission has launched recently the European Green Deal, which is a series of policy documents and the launching, therefore, of a series of policy initiatives to define a roadmap to make Europe the first climate neutral continent by 2015. You can imagine that this is a very challenging initiative, and this also includes the development of a sustainable economy, because we also cannot forget about the economy while doing this, and this requires a lot of investment on environmental friendly technologies, supports to the industry, and to boost the innovation inside every sector. The rolling out of cleaner, cheaper, and healthier forms of private and public transportation, the decarbonization of the energy sector, and the insurance of having more efficient buildings. And therefore, we need to involve international partners in these, because as mentioned by Suzanne, we are all linked together We live in a single planet, and therefore this effort should be shared internationally. Next slide, please. So, as mentioned before, the challenge of becoming a climate neutral continent by 2050 is a huge challenge, and we need to start immediately a process that can only begin with research and innovation. This will play a central role in accelerating the transition, deploying and demonstrating de-risking solutions that will be applied, and also we need the engagement of the civil society in this innovation, because the designing of the path that Europe will be following cannot skip the involvement of the civil society. Next slide, please. So, following the launch of the European Green Deal, the European Commission has decided to launch also a call for funding. This is the Horizon 2020 European Green Deal call. The budget is very ambitious. It's 1 billion euros. This is the biggest call that has been launched so far under the Horizon 2020 program. It will remain so, because we are phasing up the Horizon 2020 framework program, and we will move to the Horizon Europe framework program in next year. The call is designed to respond to the climate crisis and provide more protection to Europe's biodiversity and habitats under threat, and accelerate a sustainable recovery. In the link, I think that the presentation will be shared afterwards, and I have included the link to the work program, so where you can find the official document, where you can find all the details about the call. The call has opened 1 month ago, and the deadline will be the 26th of January 2021. So proposal, they have to be submitted by that date. Next slide, please. There have been in Europe an info day on the Green Deal call that took place on the 23rd of September within the European Research and Innovation Days. The call was presented in details. There were, of course, this was a virtual event, but there were a lot of participants. 3,700 participants took advantage of this event, and I have included the link from which you can download all the presentations about the implementation of the call. So some advices on how to participate and how to write a successful proposal, and also the presentations about specific presentation about all topics that are included in the call, and you can also see the recordings of the sessions. This might be very useful if you have not been able to follow the event. Next slide, please. So the Green Deal call is a bit different than the other calls that took place, that had been launched within the Horizon 2020 framework. It's really about addressing challenges maximizing the results of the actions that will be taken under the call, and also maximizing the impact of the projects that should be delivered in a short to medium term. And this is very important to start implementing the roadmap for the European Green Deal call, but also to show somehow to the citizens that this is, and to also the economy, that it is possible, and start really with the right foot. There are few actions with a larger budget, and they will be visible to the civil society. The focus also is on the rapid scalability and dissemination and uptake from the economy and from the society. Next slide, please. The Green Deal call is tackling 10 thematic areas. 8 of them are of those areas are reflecting the key work streams of the European Green Deal, so an increasing of the climate ambitions, the development of clean and affordable and secure energy, the transformation of industry for a clean and circular economy, the boosting of the implementation of energy and resource efficiency in buildings, the transformation of the mobility to become more sustainable and smart, but also farming and biodiversity and the ecosystems, and the aim of a zero pollution and toxic free environments. So it's not just about being climate neutral, but it's also tackling all the aspects of our society. Next slide, please. The other two thematic areas, they are horizontal. It is very important, as said, that the citizens are engaged and empowered, and these areas are about these. So offering a long-term perspective in achieving the transformations set out in the European Green Deal. Next slide, please. So I have included in the presentation all the areas and all the topics that are included in the call, in the work program of the call. I will not go too much in details on this. My understanding is that for you are especially interested in the first thematic area, which is increasing climate ambition across sectorial challenges, and especially to topic 1.1, which is preventing and fighting extreme wildfires with the integration and demonstration of innovative means. Alberto later on will provide us with more details on this, and this is a shared topic worldwide, because we see every year what's happening to our environment in relation to wildfires. The second area is about clean and affordable and secure energy. It's also circular economy, very important. There have been a series of communication from the European Commission about circular economy in the recent past, and this is still a hot topic. Energy efficiency in buildings, again, it's very important. About mobility, farming, biodiversity, zero pollution. So there are a series of areas, they are grouping topics It will be also important for actions responding to the challenges expressed in the topics to work together. So my advice is also, while addressing one topic, to take into account also the other ones and foresee some clustering activities with the other projects, so that you will not be working in isolation, but all actions will be linked together to define a network that involves more or less at least all the other topics from the same area. Next slide, please. As mentioned, there are two extra areas that are more about the knowledge sharing between different parts of the society, so the economy, industry, with involvement of the civil society, so all stakeholders are to be engaged. And this is about infrastructure for knowledge sharing, for the understanding of end users, and citizen support for climate adaptation and mitigation. And also citizens, they should be empowered in a way that they can contribute to this change. And they can also adjust their behaviors and the way the civil society in general is working. Next slide, please. As said, the budget for the Green Deal call is very ambitious. It's 1 billion euros. And I have included this slide to show at once the budget allocated to some topics, which are more relevant also for what we do at the EASME. There are also some subtopics. I will explain you afterwards what type of action it is, but for the moment I can tell you that IA stands for Innovation Action, and CSA stands for Coordination and Support Action. For some topics, the innovation that will be brought to the table by the topics will be accompanied to by, let's say, more policy oriented projects that will facilitate the future uptake of this innovation within the society. As you can see that the budget is very, very important, especially for topic 1.1. It's 72 millions deserved to the projects, and 3 millions dedicated to this coordination and support action. And so there is room for very big result-oriented projects to be implemented in the coming years. Next slide, please. So this is the timeline, the deadline of the evaluation of the proposals that will be submitted within the call. The deadline for the submission of the proposals is January the 26th. The evaluation process will take roughly 5 months, most likely less. And we will be informing the applicants around the end of May, beginning of June. And then we will start the preparation of the grant agreements, that they will all be signed within 8 months starting from the deadline. So all projects will start their functioning within this year. in, let's say, in the third quarter of this year, and therefore they will be visible. And this is a planning, the timeline that would also apply to projects that will involve participants from the Asian countries. Next slide, please. So some key elements about Horizon 2020. Horizon 2020 has demonstrated itself to be a very competitive program. This slide is not to discourage the participation, but it is an invitation to possible participants to start with the right foot. This slide is showing a possible, let's say, ranking of the proposals inside every topic, and consider that the scoring that we give to the proposals is from 0 to 15, where 15 is the maximum, and but 14, 13, and 12 are still scores that are assigned to very good proposals that will probably not be funded. So we have normally a quite high oversubscription, and only the very best proposals will get funded. So this is an invitation for you to find the right partners and define the right projects to participate with. And so that there is some preparatory work to be done beforehand. Next slide, please. So a bit of this is perhaps too specific, but nonetheless, I think it is important for you also to have an basic understanding of what kind of actions should be proposed within the call. So within the European Green Deal call, there are some topics that are classified as a research and innovation action, some others that are classified as an innovation action, and some other that are classified as coordination and support action. The funding is different depending on the action. We could say that the funding is 100% for research and innovation action and coordination and support action, and still 100% for innovation actions for non-profit entities, so public organization or NGOs, while it is 70% for industries, SMEs, and all for-profit partners that are participating to innovation actions. The difference between the three actions and this, the kind of action of the project that will be funded within topics is clearly identified in the work program. The difference between a research and innovation action and an innovation action is the level of development, let's say, of the solution that is under study within the project. So a research and innovation action is is about to establish a new knowledge or explore the feasibility of new technology, product, and process, or service and solution. The aim of an innovation action is more advanced, so more, let's say, closer to market. So it is to produce plans and arrangements or design for new, altered, or improved products, processes, or service. And this is really, for developing these, up to a stage that is very close to commercialization. So prototypes that are working in an environment that is very, very close to the one in which they will be used and be functioning. All the evaluation for the Green Deal Core are a single stage. So proposals of maximum 70 pages and for research and innovation actions and innovation actions are to be submitted, and proposals of maximum 50 pages for coordination and support action are to be submitted. Next slide, please. So this slide is very general, but it also provides you an understanding on how proposals are ranked and evaluated. So for us, there are 3 award criteria. So the excellence of the research and innovation possibly brought by the proposal are evaluated. Also the impact on the society that the possible project will bring to the table and will reach in the short and long and medium term, and the quality and efficiency of the implementation of the project. All 3 these aspects are to be taken into account very, very seriously, and they have an equal importance in the evaluation of the proposal, and therefore they should have an equal importance for you while writing a proposal and or assessing a proposal to which you could decide to participate. Next slide, please. This eligibility criteria, this slide on the eligibility criteria I have included to show you that you will not be able to participate to the Horizon 2020 program and therefore the Green Deal call autonomously. You need to be involved in a consortium that is comprising at least some legal entities from the European Union, member states, or the Horizon 2020 associated countries. Later on in the presentation, I have included the links where you can find information about international cooperation and Horizon 2020 associated countries. So the minimum requirement for research and innovation actions and innovation actions is 3 legal entities from 3 different member states, while at least 1 legal entity from a European Union member state or associated country should be involved in the project. Then, when these requirements and the eligibility conditions are met, the consortium can involve partners from other countries outside Europe and established worldwide. Next slide, please. The Horizon 2020, one of the key aspects of the Horizon 2020 program is that it has been designed to be open to the world. What it means for these specific goals, it is that for all topics, international cooperation is recommended. So the involvement of partners from other countries than European ones, it is implemented. There are also some specific requirements depending of the topic. For instance, for topic 2.3, it is mandatory to involve partners from Africa for other topics, this is recommended. There are some mechanisms of co-funding from third countries that are required for others, especially for Indian partners on specific topics. And the international cooperation is encouraged also on topic 1.1. That is the one that Alberto will present to you later on. And this aspect on international cooperation is to be taken into account while defining the project, and will be taken into account during the evaluation. So there is a quite high interest from European entities to involve partners from third countries. And I know that in your area, the issue of extreme wildfire is very relevant and is tackled in very innovative way. So why not having Asian partners in the project? Next slide, please. So, as mentioned before, the international cooperation is encouraged. There are some rules within the Horizon 2020 framework program. There are some entities that are automatically eligible for funding. Some others that are not, but most of partners from the worldwide are eligible for funding. So there are, of course, the member states and the Horizon 2020 associated countries. They are eligible for funding, but there are also 120 other countries where possible participants are eligible for funding. You find the details on this on the Annex A of the General Work Program. I have put the link in the presentation. And also there are some international organizations that are eligible for funding. If your organization is based in a country that is not automatically eligible for funding, there are still a possibility to get funded. There is still a possibility to get funded because if the participation of your entity is deemed essential for the implementation of the projects, the expert evaluating the proposal can declare this, and the European Union might decide to provide funding to your organization. So it really depends on how you are planning your participation to the projects and also on the nature of your entity. Next slide, please. Okay, for you it is also very important to understand how to find partners and how to join these consortium that are being built up in these days. There is a website where we publish all the call for proposals, which is called Horizon 2020 Funding and Tender Portal. That is the link, and there you find all specific pages that are related to the topics of the call. Every specific topic related page has a section that is called partner search, and there you can put information of your organization. This is an extract of the web page for topic 1.1 on the extreme wildfires. and there are already 68 organizations that are registered. And why not? You should put your organization in case you have explaining how and what you could bring to possible projects and what your organization is doing about this topic. You can of course navigate the other topics, and every topic has a specific section section on this. Next slide, please. There are also many other source. Susan, please show the rest of the slide. Okay, perfect. There are also many other sources of information. There are many databases that are facilitating the research of projects on specific fields, and also organizations that are working on those specific fields, so that you can start contacting organization directly whenever you think that your work could be complementary to the work of these other organizations that are already involved in other Horizon 2020 projects. There is this Cordis database where you can see all projects funded within the Horizon 2020 framework program, and also all the deliverables, public deliverables that have been developed by the project. There are many other platforms that are presenting the publicly available data on the projects, on the results, and on the innovations that are brought to the table by the projects. There are also some data hubs that are published by the executive agencies taking care of the implementation of the project. My organization, EASME, is publishing the data through our data hub. There you find all information of projects that we are directly managing and monitoring. INEA is another executive agency that is publishing database on the projects that are managed and monitored by them. These data hubs are very well organized. It is very easy to find information on projects and partners, and as you can see from the map, the projects we are managing are involving a considerable amount of international partners, many of them from the Asian region. So I invite you really to visit this website and to get familiar with the past projects and to look for possible partners. Next slide, please. Another main source of information is the funding internal portal that I have already mentioned. You find an online manual on Horizon 2020 that is really well made and informative. You find information or further information on international cooperation. You find the funder, the find partner tool. You find support to the building up of your consortium and your proposal. And you find also FAQs related to specific topics. There is also a research inquiry service that is accessible from the portal, and you can pose your question. There are also some national contact points in Europe, but we are also in contact sometimes with the EU delegation to third countries, and I guess that you can also contact them to get information about the work program. There are also several social network channels that you can register to get a fresh, updated information every day. Next slide, please. And before I finish, I would like also to provide you an overview of the major media and social communication channels of the European Commission and the European Union, where you can find information not only on the European Green Deal call, but also on the European Green Deal per se, and on the major initiatives that are happening at the European Union level. Okay, next slide, please. Thank you very much for listening and your attention. I hope that this has been useful for you and will boost participation of Asian partners to the Horizon 2020 framework program, and especially to the European Green Deal call. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marco, for this very, very helpful introduction to the Horizon 2020 Green Deal call. I'm sure that all our participants have really benefited from that and are, I think, encouraged, as you said, to explore the opportunity for their institution to participate in these opportunities. Now, we're turning our attention, as Marco has said, to a specific topic under the Green Deal call, and that is related to combating extreme wildfires. And our second speaker, Alberto Pozza, is already ready to get started. Alberto, I will just share the presenter rights with you now so that you can share your presentation. And while Alberto is getting ready, as we've heard, the slides will be shared with all of you later, so you have all this information available by tomorrow. Alberto, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Suzanne. I hope you can see my presentation. Just a moment. Yep. Just a moment, because...
Yes, we can see it. Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you for the invitation to this webinar and to give me the opportunity to present this interesting topic on preventing and fighting extreme wildfires. So my name is Alberto Potts. I work as a project advisor in the Executive Agency for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, in the unit in charge of the implementation of Horizon 2020 part related to environment and resource. So here I will provide an overview of the Green Deal call topic 1.1 related to extreme wildfires. And of course, for the more detailed description, you can find the full text of the call in the Funding and Tender portal and in the documents for which Marco provided the links. So the Green Deal call as an immediate priority to reduce the incidence of and extent of forest fires. And also it calls to boost the EU's ability to predict and manage environmental disaster. Indeed, between 2017 and 2020, fires have killed hundreds of people, and they've destroyed the forests and protected natural areas, not only in Southern Europe, but increasingly now in Eastern, Central, and Northern Europe. There are also some factors that are increasing the depth and breadth of wildfires. One of these is climate change. Climate change is predicted to increase the risk of fires with longer fire seasons, more frequent events, and also to increase the number of people exposed to this risk. Indeed, with 3 degrees global warming, it is predicted that several million people will live in areas that are exposed, will be exposed to the fire danger. So better wildfire risk management will not only imply reducing the socioeconomic impact, such as loss of human lives, health, infrastructure, and economic facility, but also the wildfire will have a serious ecological impact if we consider soil degradation and water scarcity, biodiversity loss. And wildfires are also among the first contributors to climate change, and up to 20% of the global greenhouse gas emission per year are due to wildfire. And moreover, when an area is destroyed by wildfires, that area will not be able to absorb CO2 any longer, and so the mitigation potential of carbon sinks will be reduced. Finally, large wildfires will degrade air quality through the emission of toxic pollutants. So in the new context of extreme wildfires, it is required to accelerate the shift towards implementing a more holistic and fire management approach. It will be based on the integration, adaptation, and demonstration of solutions that will be ready to solutions that are to be ready to be deployed and upscaled at multiple levels. So this holistic approach should include the research, demonstration, and deployment of innovative means and methods tailored to the extreme wildfire behavior, such as, for example, better and more advanced techniques, model solution for preventing and predicting and monitoring wildfires and for fighting wildfires. There will be the need also to integrate the environmental, climate and health and safety, security, and socioeconomic aspects. A proactive governance, a change of forest management practices, and also increase the awareness and preparedness also of citizens, local communities, and in this approach, citizens, local communities, forest and bioeconomy sector should play a central role. So all this approach should then result in tailored and effective solutions that are co-designed with end users in pilot sites across various European contexts. I will now go a bit more in detail about the structure of the call topic 1.1. It is, as Marco mentioned, divided into 2 subtopics. Subtopic 1 is for innovation actions, and the target is to speed up speed up the pan-European adaptation process to extreme wildfires. It should be done by advancing and applying research and innovation, including demonstration pilot sites, should make the best use of existing data, technologies, and services. For this subtopic, the total available EU budget is 72 million euro, as Marco mentioned, and the indicative EU contribution expected for each of the actions funded under subtopic 1 is between 15 to 20 million euro per action. The subtopic 2 comprises the coordination and support action. It should ensure that the demonstration of innovative and integrated approach fulfills the expected impacts, and this to be done by coordinating and supporting the innovation actions project funded under this topic, under subtopic 1. For this subtopic, the indicative EU contribution for the action is between 2 to 3 million euro, and the total EU available funding is of 3 million. Please note that the proposal should address only one of the above mentioned subtopics. Going a bit more in detail about subtopic 1, so innovation actions, the proposal under this subtopic should cover all of the fire management phases. 3 phases have been identified in the call. So it's the first is prevention and preparedness. The second is the detection and response, and the third is the restoration and adaptation. And while covering all of these 3 phases, then the proposal should focus on a subset of activities within each phase. The topic text lists a series of activities with details. Here I will go quickly through the main ones. So for the first phase, prevention and preparedness, the activities are, for example, the support of the integration of socioeconomic and environmental information on wildfire causes and impacts, the integration of data into existing databases with focus on extreme wildfire events, for example, the causes of wildfire emissions and the demographic dynamics. Other activities should include improving the fire and landscape management of public and private lands using traditional and innovative approaches for sustainable fuel management, enhancing the access to official fire danger index rating and warnings, so building a common culture on risk prevention and preparedness across Europe, and this should include also behavioral change of citizens. Also integrate the fire safety knowledge and engineering support to support the design and construction of fire resilient buildings and infrastructure. Improve early warning tools by integrating the forest and biogeographical data in forecasting models. For the phase 2, detection and response, this should stimulate the activities should stimulate the private investment for new technologies, the research and innovation in new means targeted, for example, for the extinction of fires. This could include space, aerial means for detection of fires, and research and innovation also on firefighters vehicles that could be manned and unmanned, ground air vehicles, and that could operate simultaneously in all conditions. Also the forecasting of smoke preparation with near real-time high fidelity data. The interoperable incident management, so to coordinate the communication and command systems and integrate information from multiple platforms and sources. The interaction with citizens and risks, so to improve the warning, the evacuation and confinement messages integrated wireless sensors and new fire retardant and search, rescue, and evacuation activities to improve the emergency responders equipment, such as personal protection, ICT support, robotics, fire agents. Also, the training is an activity that could be targeted in these actions. Innovative trainings that could include, for example, virtual reality simulators, and also developing a better and faster estimates of the impact of fire events. Concerning restoration and adaptation, this should advance and demonstrate systemic and structural measures for fuel treatments and for the management of tree and forest, aiming to make them more resilient to fires. Demonstrate the post-fire ecosystem restoration solutions aimed at restoring biodiversity. Also evaluating and upscaling the deployment of restoration solutions across different contexts. And this could also build on experience from projects related to nature-based solutions. So also testing and developing public-private cooperation mechanism to leverage investments from private sectors, and this should include also insurance companies. The contribution to the definition of a common EU legal framework for the governance systems and operational activities regarding forest and communities protection. And then supporting mechanism and promotion of governance systems for restoration and adaptation involving the different actors and in this sector. Subtopic 2 is coordination and support actions. So these are activities that are more related to the networking, the coordination of different projects, ensuring that the results are well integrated and exploitable. So activities here should like support clustering and coordination among the projects funded under this topic, subtopic 1, and also with other relevant Horizon 2020 actions. They should facilitate the integration of the fire management phases covered by the innovation actions funded under subtopic 1. They should help to have an engagement of citizens, local communities, forest owners, and other actors such as insurance sector. They should ensure that there is a structure and extensive knowledge sharing, for example, by feeding data into disaster risk management knowledge center. They should develop a recommendation for wildfire prevention and preparedness activities targeted at different actors. They should develop a better readiness of response units for cross-border regional and international assistance, and facilitate the international collaboration and the global outreach in the areas covered by this topic. It is important to mention that all subtopics funded under this action should go beyond the state of the art of previously funded research and innovation activities funded under FP7, Horizon 2020, COST, or the JRC actions. They should cooperate with, so this action funded under these topics should cooperate with ongoing relevant Horizon 2020 projects. They should involve relevant international, national, and EU agencies, such as, for example, the European Environmental Agency, the European Aviation Safety Agency, and they should involve end users from member states and associated countries. Also, it is requested that the actions funded under this topic make the best use of existing EU initiatives and services, such as, for example, Copernicus, Galileo, and EGNOS. As an example, for Copernicus, Copernicus is the Europe's Earth observation program, and it's based on constellation of satellites. These provide highly accurate, timely, and accessible information into different services. And some example of the support that could be given by Copernicus for wildfires is the providing near real-time data on the affected region, providing temperature information and meteorological information. And you could find more information in the Copernicus website. I reported here the link. So for this topic, a number of targets are listed in the call. Some are measurable targets to be achieved by 2030. The percentage are given as a 2019 baseline. So, for example, the targets are 0 fatalities from wildfires by 2030, reduction of 55% reduction in the emissions in 2030 compared to 2019, and a list of other figures for targets. And in order to maximize impacts, it's very important for the project funded under Horizon 2020, the maximization of impacts. So it's expected that the results are upscaled and deployed in different areas and places, such as the National Climate Change Adaptation and Disaster Risk Units, the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, the Emergency Response Coordination Center, the Risk Management Knowledge Center for Disaster, the European Forest Fire Information System, and also at international levels, such as the UN Sendai framework. As already mentioned by Marco, the multilateral international cooperation is important as can leverage global impact. For this topic, the international cooperation is encouraged for all subtopics action. And this in order to leverage the knowledge, resources, and best practices to decrease risk and impact and increase impact worldwide. In particular, for the topic 1.1, the multilateral international cooperation is encouraged with, there is a list of countries listed in the call. Among these, there is Indonesia. That was the end of my presentation. I thank you very much for your attention and I wish you a successful application for this topic and for the Green Deal in general. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alberto, for this excellent introduction to this particular topic under the Green Deal call. I think our participants have received a lot of information, and as we said, all the slides will be shared together with a recording of this seminar. You will also have the opportunity to reach out to us with specific questions that you may have. I would like to use the opportunity of the last few minutes just to share with you a little bit of information about EURAXES, which I think is going to help you also with trying to navigate the European research landscape. Now, the organization I'm representing is called EURAXES. EURAXES is a pan-European initiative, and it focuses very much on supporting mobile researchers like yourselves in working with European collaborators or spending some time in Europe as a researcher. EURAXES is, as I said, supported by the European Commission, but importantly, it is a project that has participation of currently 42 European countries. EURAXES is both. It is a real living network of researchers that are connecting with each other, but it is also a platform where you will find in one spot all the information that you need if you're trying to develop your research career in Europe or the European partners. One of the key features of EURAXES is the jobs and funding portal, where you find literally thousands of opportunities across the European continent that you may want to explore for your career development. We also have a partnering tool. This again is an additional support feature for you in trying to reach out to research organizations across Europe, individual researchers, but also companies across Europe that are performing research and innovation. EURAXES also offers a hosting database with concrete offers of supervisors, institutions across Europe that are reaching out to international research talent to spend some time at their institution in Europe. And of course, you find a lot of information there, everything related to doing research, carrying out innovation in those 42 countries that are part of the EURAXES project. EURAXES offers you personalized assistance as well. We have so-called EURAXES service centers all across Europe, with our colleagues really being available to support you in your mobility experience, providing information on funding opportunities, on any important information you need when you're moving from outside of Europe to the European continent. I am based here in Southeast Asia. I'm based in Singapore. I'm part of EURAXES ASEAN. We cover pretty much the entire Southeast Asian region. And please, whenever you have questions, also as a follow-up from the webinar that you have participated in just now, do reach us at either this email here, asean@euraxes.net, or my personal email address, and we will do our best to connect you to, for example, Marco and Alberto as our experts if you have very specific questions. And of course, here is a QR code that will lead you to our website. And on our website, you will, for example, find tomorrow the recording of this webinar. You will find the slides which Alberto and Marco have presented today, together with all the material that has been part of our European Research Days of the past 6 days. And of course, other events that we are lining up for you, our community of researchers and innovators here in Southeast Asia, to help you work with European collaborators and spend some time in Europe. With this, I think it is time to once again say thank you to Alberto and Marco for these fantastic presentations. I hope that many of you will use the opportunity, explore what has been presented, and hopefully we'll see you as participants in some of these Green Deal call opportunities. And with this, once again, Alberto, Marco, thank you so much. To all our participants, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you all very soon. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Thank you and goodbye.